G'day guys. A few weeks ago, the same talented developer that brought us Fire for ArcOS, the Firefox web browser you can access directly from Emulation Station on your R36S, has also created a background YouTube player specifically for the R36S. Now, while this was mainly designed for background play, it's actually a fully featured YouTube player, and great for watching YouTube videos too. I would even say it's better than CTube, the other YouTube player we took a look at not too long ago on our R36S. Unfortunately, at the moment, this doesn't seem to work on DarkOS or DarkOS RE, so it's strictly for ArcOS and ArcOS for clones, although I believe the developer might be looking into a fix for that. I have personally tried it on ArcOS for clones and didn't have any issues, but today we will be trying it on good old Aeolus UX's ArcOS, on our non-clone Panel 4 device. If we press start, you can see we are running the last version of ArcOS, which is 11.07.2025. You will obviously need internet access on your device to use this, either built in, or just by using USB tethering, or just a USB Ethernet or wireless adapter, which is what we'll be using today. Before we can have a play around with this new YouTube app, we do need to move over to our Windows 11 PC to download and copy everything over. Let's get into it. We're over on our Windows 11 PC now, and to get started we've just opened up Google Chrome and gone to the Reddit post where this was originally announced. If we click read more, it tells us a little bit about what this is and why they built it, as well as a few of the issues they had faced, which is pretty neat. And at the very bottom, it does have a GitHub link, so we'll go there. From here, on the right hand side we want to click on releases, and we want to download the latest version, which at the time of filming is 1.6.2. If we scroll down to assets, we just want to download TubeLite.zip. Click on it once to download. It's just under 80 meg. Once it finishes downloading, we can close off Chrome and open up our downloads folder. Inside, we should have our TubeLite zip. We just want to right click on it and extract. You can use Windows built-in archiver by clicking extract all, but I always like to use 7-zip, so we'll go show more options, 7-zip, and extract to. Once it finishes extracting, we'll open up the TubeLite folder, and inside should be another folder called TubeLite. This is the folder we want to copy. So we'll click on it once and press Ctrl-C to copy it. Next, we'll insert the SD card from our R36S into our PC. We'll navigate to the EasyROMs partition, go down to the Tools folder, and we'll paste it in here, Ctrl-V. That's pretty much everything we need to do over on our Windows 11 PC. We can safely eject our SD card and move back over to our R36S. We're back with our R36S, and to get started, we do need to connect to the internet. For that, I'll just be using my cheap USB wireless adapter, plug it into the OTG port, and with it connected, we'll go down to Options, and at the very bottom, Wi-Fi. I'll connect to my access point, and we're connected. We'll quit out of the wireless manager, and before we install this new YouTube player, I do want to take a few benchmarks just to see if it slows anything down once installed. Although it obviously will slow some things down once it's actually running in the background and playing audio. Since it mentions it should allow you to play both the usual in-game sounds and the audio from a YouTube video at the same time, I guess we'll make sure sound does normally work. We'll start with Pico 8 and Celeste. I'll turn the sound up. We have the fake 8 message, that's okay. So there is sound, that's good. We'll quit out of Pico 8 and we'll try Nintendo DS with Mario Kart DS. Sound does work in here as well, that's awesome. We'll quit back out. PSP next with Mega Man Powered Up. And we do have sound here as well. We can quit out. And finally, we'll take two performance benchmarks. The first with Mega Man 2 for the original NES. As you can hear, there is sound. So it looks like we're getting around 196 frames a second with fast forward enabled in Mega Man 2 on Bubble Man stage. We'll use that as our base benchmark, so 196, we can quit out. And for our second benchmark, we'll be using Pokemon Fire Red for the Game Boy Advance. And we're finally in the starter house now, and it looks like we're getting around 106 to 108 frames a second. I guess we can average it to 107. So now we've taken our starter benchmarks, we can install this new YouTube player. To do that, we'll go up to Options, Tools, TubeLite, and Install TubeLite. We do want to run the full installer, which is recommended, so we'll make sure full install is highlighted, and we'll just press A. It should install everything by itself, you don't need to press anything just yet. It's worth mentioning that although it seems to install fine without internet access, it won't actually be able to grab any packages it needs, so make sure you are online before running the installer. You might get some symlink errors, that's perfectly fine, it doesn't seem to cause any issues. Near the end of the installer, it'll ask if you want to update the sample rate to 48 kHz. It is recommended, so we will go yes. And once everything's finished, it'll say it's returning to emulation station in 10 seconds. Just be patient and don't press anything, and it should take you back to the options menu. So even though it's finished installing, nothing will show up until we either restart the device or just emulation station itself. If we go back to the main emulation station menu, there's no new TubeLite folder here or TubeLite entry. So we'll press start, go down to quit, and restart emulation station. This should only take a few seconds. Now if we scroll down, there is a new TubeLite entry. Before we open it though, I do just want to take 2 more benchmarks to see if anything's slowed down just from installing this. So we'll go back to NES and we'll go into Mega Man 2 once more. We were getting around 196 frames a second on Bubble Man's stage with fast forward enabled. So we'll go back into the level and compare. So we're back in and it seems it has slowed it down very slightly. We're averaging around 190 to 191 frames a second now, down from the original 196. That's not too much of a loss, but it is very, very slightly slower. We'll quit out and try Pokemon Fire Red once more, just to make sure it's not a coincidence. And inside the starter house in Fire Red, we're averaging around 104 to 105 frames a second with fast forward enabled. Before we installed it, we were averaging around 107, so again, that's a very slight drop. Only 1 or 2 frames a second loss. Not really that big of a deal in my book. We'll quit out and load up this new YouTube Player app. So to run it, we want to go down to the new TubeLite entry, press A, and then go TubeLite. When you first open it, it'll say loading feed, and it does actually load some random videos. There we go, it's finished loading. So all of the controls are listed on the bottom of the screen. We'll press Y, which brings up an on-screen keyboard, and I guess we'll search for our channel. Once you've entered your search query, you can just press start to search. Very intuitive. So it didn't take too long to get the search results, and unlike CTube, this one doesn't seem to be limited with the amount of results it actually displays. If we scroll down, it does just keep loading them. It stops here, but once it finishes loading this set, it will load another set, it seems. So we'll give it a second. There we go. There's another bunch. So if we go and pick a random video, probably a long one, maybe this one here, and if we hold function and press Y, it brings up playback settings. Near the top, it says mix quality, and currently it does seem to be locked to 360p. But honestly, 360p is more than enough for our low-res 640 by 480 screen. So that's not really a big issue for me. 360p will also improve playback performance. There are a few other things you can change in here, but we might just press B to close it, and we'll press A to play our video. I've noticed for me, it does take around 10 seconds to start the playback. It says resolving stream, and then it will automatically start playing. So again, just be patient. Here we go. There is a ton of speaker interference, but that's not from the app, that is just from the wireless adapter. So as you can see, we do have closed captions on, which is great. We'll turn the sound up. This also seems to have a pretty amazing hidden feature, which seems to sound obviously also works. And the speaker interference has gone, which means it has buffered a nice chunk. The interference unfortunately will come back again once it needs to buffer the next chunk. So while the video is playing, if you press FN and A, it brings up the video description, which is a really, really nice feature. So with the video description on screen, it does tell us the playback controls at the very bottom. So we'll press B to close the description. We can press A to play and pause. We can use the D-pad to seek around. I think the left joystick can also seek, and it can. It's really smooth seeking as well. Look at that. That's basically real time. That is awesome. Pressing start should bring up our queue, but unfortunately our queue is empty. I wonder how we add videos to the queue. Y toggles the closed captions or subtitles. X should turn off the backlight, and it does. The sound should still be playing though. So press X. Yep, it still plays the sound. Pressing anything should wake it up. Pressing select actually takes you back to the search results and puts the currently playing video in a mini window. That is really awesome as well. Again, this is a fully featured YouTube app. They have thought of absolutely everything. Pressing select again should go back to the video, and it does. And if we turn our sound up and press start and select to quit out, you can see it is playing in the background, but we are back on emulation station. I'll turn the sound down a little bit. So the sound is still playing, and we can still navigate the system. When you're outside of the app, Pressing FN and A does toggle between play and pause. So now it's pause. We do have a little pop-up, which is cool. And if we press B to go back so we don't load Mega Man, and press FN and A again, it should resume, and it does. If we hold FN and press select, it should change the playback speed. So it's a lot faster now, faster still, 1.75 speed, 2 speed, slowed right down to 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, and finally back to normal speed. Finally, pressing FN and X here, twice, will turn the screen off as well. This apparently also throttles the CPU to save power and reduce heat during background audio playback. If we press any button, it should wake it up, and it has. I guess we'll try out a few games while the YouTube video is playing in the background. We'll start with Pico 8 just to make sure sound does work in both the game itself and the YouTube video. So I'll turn the sound up. We've got the fake 8 issue. Now unfortunately I can't hear any sound. Oh, there we go. So there's no Pico 8 sound, but the YouTube video is playing back. But if we press A, it does pause the video, but it also dashes in Celeste. So Pico 8's not perfect, although pressing A no longer toggles the YouTube video. So maybe FN and A? No, it looks like the YouTube video has crashed. I guess we'll quit out of Pico 8 and see if the YouTube video starts playing again once outside. We'll go back to the main menu, we'll press FN and A, but it doesn't seem to toggle it. I think when I pressed B, it did close out of the YouTube video, since for some reason it was detecting my inputs as playback control. So we will have to go back into TubeLite. It does remember our last search query, which is great. I guess we'll go back into a different video, maybe this one. So it started playing, we'll press start and select to quit back out. Okay, it's quit out and it is still playing, that's good. We won't do Pico 8 since that doesn't seem to play very nicely with it. Instead, we'll go with another standalone emulator, Nintendo DS, with Mario Kart DS again. We've got a white screen. YouTube is still playing in the background, but Mario Kart doesn't seem to work. I think what's happened is the Nintendo DS emulator, Drastic, can't lock the sound driver or sound card, and that's why it's frozen here. So far, the standalone Pico 8 and Nintendo DS emulators don't work very nicely with this background YouTube player. We'll quit out. The video is still playing. I'm not sure if you can hear it on the camera. I guess we'll try PSP, which is another standalone emulator, and see how well it plays with that. So far it hasn't crashed. I can't hear any sound from PSP though. No, there should be sound on this screen, and if we go new game, there should definitely be sound here. So it looks like this new YouTube player does not like standalone emulators. I'm not sure if the developer knows about this though, so I will drop a comment in the original Reddit post just to see what they say. We'll quit out of PSP. So our YouTube video is still playing in the background. We'll go into a RetroArch call and see if it works there. We'll do Mega Man 2 again for the original NES, and unfortunately it quits out. I'm guessing it also can't lock the sound card or sound driver. What about Game Boy Advance? And Game Boy Advance doesn't work either. I actually didn't have this issue with ArcOS for clones, so it might just be an issue with plain old ArcOS. I guess we'll go back into the YouTube player, TubeLite. You can see it did take us straight back to the search results again, but also has the currently playing video in a mini player. So if we press select, yep, it brings it full screen. I guess we'll stop the video completely by pressing B, and we will quit out completely, so just start and select. Okay, so there's nothing playing in the background now, so our RetroArch game should play again. If we go NES with Mega Man 2, no, it still doesn't play. What if we reboot the system? So quit and restart system. Okay, it's finished rebooting. We'll try RetroArch once more, and thankfully it is working now. We'll make sure there's sound. And yep, as you can hear, there is sound. So we'll quit back out. We might go back into the YouTube player, TubeLite, and we'll try play a background video again, just to see if it was a bit of a glitch before. So we'll go search. We'll search for our channel, just to avoid any copyright issues. We'll pick a random video again. I guess we'll go with the first one. Perfect, it started playing. We'll quit out. Ignore the horrible speaker interference. Let's go back into a RetroArch game and see if it still crashes. Oh, so it works now. I'm guessing when we tried the standalone emulators with NDS or PSP, something did break. And sure enough, there is both the YouTube sound and Mega Man 2 sound playing. I'll turn it down a little bit, it is a bit loud. And I guess we'll take one last benchmark in Bubble Man stage. And with both the YouTube video playing in the background, as well as Mega Man's music, we're averaging around 191 frames a second with fast forward enabled. Pretty much the same as when it wasn't running, but a little bit less than before we installed it with 196. A very, very slight slowdown, but considering it is playing a full YouTube video in the background, or at least streaming the audio, that is pretty acceptable. We'll quit out of this, make sure that our YouTube sound is still playing in the background. Yep, it is still playing, and we'll go back into Pokemon Fire Red for the Game Boy Advance. And we're finally in the starter room now, and we're averaging around 103 to 104 frames a second this time. Before we installed anything, we were averaging 107 frames a second, and after installing but not playing, we were hitting around 105, which is pretty much what it is now. So there is a very slight performance decrease when playing a YouTube video in the background, but again, that is to be expected. Overall, this is definitely my new favorite YouTube player for the R36S, and the fact it supports background playback is next level. As you saw, we did have a few issues with standalone emulators like Pico 8, Nintendo DS, and PSP, but hopefully they do get fixed in a future release. There was also a very slight performance decrease once we installed TubeLite, but for most systems, you wouldn't even notice the difference unless fast forwarding. Since this is still a fairly new app, it's fair to expect some issues. So if you were worried about it breaking anything, maybe wait until a few more people have tried it, just for peace of mind. If you do have a spare SD card though, or aren't too worried if something breaks, I would definitely recommend checking this out. I personally haven't had any issues in any of the tests though, outside of it just not working in some standalone emulators. Although as we saw, nothing really broke, and simply restarting the device seems to have fixed it. I think that'll do it for today. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. Otherwise, thanks for watching.